point will you realize that you're not loving yourself because you're wanting somebody else to love you? At what point will you realize that when you say nobody loves me, nobody's ever there for me, nobody ever listens or talks to me, nobody sees me, nobody hears me, nobody knows I exist? At what point will you realize that you just called yourself a nobody? And at what point will you realize that you are somebody? At what point will you realize that you are everybody? At what point will you realize that you are the body? At what point will you realize that although you might not remember who you are, you paid a price to be in this human body, and before you were in this human body, you were everything. And now in this physical body, you feel like nothing. And at what point will you realize that the everything you were is actually inside of the nothing body that you feel you are in? And at what point will you realize that you can be everything and nothing, but you get to choose which one you want to be? So if you would like to be everything, then be everything. But if you want to keep calling yourself nothing, then that's a choice too. But at what point will you realize that although you are everything, you don't need everything? So ask yourself, what is it that you need? And then ask yourself, how is it that you can give it to you? And then ask yourself if you want to give it to you. Ask yourself if you are willing to be committed to give it to you. Are you committed to yourself the way you commit yourself to those who show that they don't deserve you? The people that show you constantly that they don't understand your worth. And you constantly allow yourself to give and give and give to prove to them, oh, they gonna know my worth. To the guy that thought that you couldn't have me, I'm going to show you now that this is what it looks like to not have me. All you're doing, my dear, is showing them that you're still thinking about them and that they were the catalyst for you wanting to be better. And that you're still trying to only be better to prove to them that they have lost something. And then when they don't pay attention to you, after you have done so much to elevate yourself, well, look at me now. You ain't, Nikki, you fucked the whole body. And they're looking at you like, well, I don't want this new body anyway. Thank you. Now you're upset. I know you're going to miss this body. I know you're going to miss me. I'm the best you ever had. And they're like, actually, you're not. And then you're arguing with them about your worth. Why? Do you not believe the words coming out of your own mouth? Do you not believe that you're worthy? Why do you have to convince somebody else of your worth? Oh, you gonna see me. You gonna notice me. You gonna miss me. I'm gonna show you that I'm the best you ever had. You have to show them you're the best they ever had. If you were the best they ever had, wouldn't they know this already? But maybe you're not the best they ever had. Maybe what you had was never what they needed and or wanted in the first place. Maybe you could never be the best that they ever had because what you had was never what they needed. Maybe what you gave them was never truly what they needed in the first place. Maybe the best they ever had was the one who told them to go kick rocks and eat the bottom of their skin crust. Because in that moment they realized that they had something to work on and that they couldn't receive all that they needed, but you gave them everything they asked for. I gave you everything and you gonna miss this. Maybe they won't miss it because you were actually the one enabling them and being their crutch. Maybe you were the one actually keeping them under the dirt. But instead, what they actually needed was no water at all. They needed nothing from you at all. Because actually their plant belonged in a place of a desert. The place that felt like they had no nutrients, no resources at all, but it was in those conditions that they actually grew. But you gave them everything that they needed. I gave you everything. They didn't need everything. What they needed was nothing. And you are everything and nothing. But you chose to give them everything. Why? That's a you question, my dear. Maybe you should have realized that there's pride and humility that lives within this body, and the same thing that everything and nothing also lives within this body. If you don't understand, I will explain, because I like to explain. You are everything, my dear. Yes. Why? Because as above, so below. As within, so without. As above also created you here, which means that as above is also within, which means that it's also without. Which means that everything which created everything lives also within you. So inside of you is everything. However, you being here in this human body also kind of makes you nothing. Because you can't even do everything that you are capable of, which makes you feel like nothing. So my dear, you are everything and nothing at all. Especially in the realm of everything you are capable of and can do. So I ask you, in the way that you can be everything for one person, you could also be nothing for another. In the same way that somebody can throw you away and never love you at all and say, well, you were nothing to me. And somebody else can walk right up behind them and say, well, that's fine because she's everything to me. He's everything to me. Somebody's trash is somebody else's treasure. That's what they say, allegedly. Making you nothing and everything. But it's up to you to determine who you give nothing to and who you give everything to. Because sometimes somebody needs nothing from you. And that's the food and the nutrients and the resources they require. Nothing. And sometimes they need everything. Sometimes they just need a sprinkle. Sometimes all they need is a mist. And sometimes all they need is a waft. Meaning just you walking by. 'Tis all. But I want more. That's not what you need. Or that's just not what I want to give. And don't believe you worthless. We all have that moment when our health hangs low. What is she talking about? We're not born to chase the fading light. We're not born to fall and lose the fight. Never letting go. Oh, no, oh. I'm asking you to lift me higher than I ever been. Hold your breath and say you're gonna come with me. We were born to follow the light that never fails. How many lights that you're following right now that are failing? How many lights are you currently following that are doing nothing but running you straight into the ground? How many people are you currently chasing at this current time and all they're doing is leading you to your turmoil? How many people are you currently spending time with who are not elevating themselves and doing nothing but spending, depleting, wasting, pouring, leaking, everything that is of the opposite of the rise. How many? Never letting go. I'm asking you to lift me higher than I ever been. Hold your breath and say you're gonna come with me. The light that never, the light that never fails. The light. How many of you are allowing yourselves to just be ran down? How many of you are just allowing people to take from you? Just take and take and take. But you refuse to say that you are also giving and giving and giving. How many of you say how tired you are, but don't commit the same time to yourself to replenish you that you have spent and freely give to others, to jobs, to companies, to relationships, to kin that do nothing but take? And how much longer will you choose to give it away freely? For you truly know that can't nobody take from you what you're not willing to give. For even someone is unable to take this life from you if you're not willing to give it. And I know what you might be thinking. Well, people always go and their lives get taken sooner than it was their time. How do you know that it was not their time? Were you there when they signed their contract before that spirit jumped into its body? And if you were there, do you remember? Do you remember the terms of the contract? And if you do, then why are you so surprised that they left when they were called? Or do you feel that the way in which they left was not how they were meant to go? And if so, I ask you again, were you there at the signing and the determining of the terms of the contract? Did you go to that meeting? And if you were, do you remember what was said at the meeting with God, with the Creator, with Source, with God consciousness, with the eternal first field intelligence that created that spark of light? Were you there? And if you do, then what was said? So I ask you, if you know so much, then why are you consistently surprised? If you are consistently surprised, then did you know? Because are you ever truly surprised by what you know? Are you ever truly surprised by what it is that you know? And if you are surprised and you knew it, were you just acting then? Should we give you a Golden Globe? Should we give you a Tony or an Oscar? Maybe you want an EGOT, because an EGOT is just not enough because you are just that much of an actor. Or are you just lying about what it is that you know? Or maybe we'll call it pretending that you knew what it is that you knew, but you did not know. you humble enough to say what it is that you don't know? How does it feel to say the words, I don't know? How does it feel to say, I don't have the answer? How does it feel to say, I don't have it? Does it hurt to say, I don't have something? Because you spent your life giving and giving and giving and giving, and everything you gave just was never enough. So to have to tell someone that you don't have something to give just hurts your heart, because it's a reminder that you just always don't have something to give, or so they made you seem or believe, that you don't have everything, when we've already talked about you being everything and nothing. And maybe it was just that you did not have what it was that they needed, because what they needed from you was nothing instead of your everything. I love you, Lamar. I love you so much, my soul family. How does it feel to say no without having to convince them that you do have it? You just saying it because you don't have it anyway. Okay, sure. Whatever helps you sleep at night. Or do you have to say, oh, you don't know what I got. You don't know my life. You don't know what I've been through. Oh, you don't know where I've been. Baby, I was just on a trip last week, and I was able to spend this, and that. So what did they do to you in that moment? They made you feel worthless. They made you feel so low that you had to explain yourself. They made you feel so down and so without that you had to convince them that you were with. Do you not know who you are? Is your worth for yourself, is your knowing of yourself so fickle that somebody can slowly and so easily just come by and say one word to you, she ain't got it anyway? That now you feel so pressed and triggered that you now need to prove them of what you have. Does this happen in your relationships? They're not loving me, so I'm going to love them more. I'm going to show them how much I'm worth. I'm going to give and give. Oh, you think that you're going to go cheat on me? You're going to do all of this? Okay. Well, I'm going to go cook you the best dinner tonight. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go get me a fresh wax. I'm going to go get my hair and my nails done. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do all of this. And then I'm going to put it on you. Bow. 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 And then I'm going to walk away, leaving you wanting more. So that way you know how much I'm worth. Oh, baby. All you did was just give you away. All you did was just give you away. You let them inside of you. You let them into your sacred caves. You let them into your sacred temple. You let them inside of the party. You couldn't let them know how well you were enjoying yourself by leaving them outside to just hear the joy that was happening on the inside? Is the joy that's happening on the inside not loud enough? Is it not permeating enough that they can't sense it by just walking by? Because I know you've walked by a house before and been like, oh my God, what's happening in there? I want to go. All I hear is laughter and loud music, and I hear dancing, and the energy just is coming off of that place, and it sounds amazing. There's no name on the building of that club, but everybody going inside seems to be exclusive. I want to know what's happening in there. I don't see them convincing you that the club was worth going in, for there's somebody on the outside telling you, no, where is your ticket? You don't have the currency to get in. The currency is this ticket. I don't want your $2,000 at the door. I don't want your money at the door. No. What I want is the ticket, and you don't have the ticket. Do you have the password? Then you can't get in. But you let them in without the password. It seems like the entry into your gates, the entry into your caves, the entry into your sacred temple, it seems like it was treating you like shit. And that's all it took for you to let them inside of your caves. Funny. You just told them what the cost was. You just told them what the entrance admittance fee was. It was cheating on you. It was not loving you. It was cursing you out. It was diminishing your worth. It was degrading you. It was telling you how worthless you are. It was not reciprocating your love. It was not reciprocating love at all. It was not seeing you. You just told them exactly what the cost was to get into your sacred temple. Funny. Just because you wanted to prove a point, you did prove a point. You proved to them that you weren't worth as much as you said you were worth. Because if you were worth that much, then why would you give it away at a cost so little? I don't see. Because it looks like people are out here breaking their backs to be famous. People are out here selling their souls for some fame, for some money, doing nothing but causing themselves pain and agony, selling their lives away for a chance to be seen, to be heard, just to be able to tell you the same story that their favorites told y'all too. Be careful before you get in this industry, because now I can't make the music I want to make. Why did your music change? When you were making mixtapes, it was better, because those mixtapes was made in their garage without somebody telling them what to do because of a contract. You already signed a contract to come to earth. The price that you paid was putting your infinitive soul in a temporal body. So now you're going to take your temporary physical existence and sell that away too? Signing another contract? Giving it away to who? Another physical being? Who too had to sign a contract to be here, just so that way you could have what they have? Just because you don't remember what your worth is? Just because you don't remember that the same power that gave the person you're about to sell your soul away to gave you the same power? Interesting. But the person that is about to take your power away wants to convince you how much you need them. But funny thing is, they may tell you how much they need you, but then you won't really tell them the cost it is for you if they need you so bad, because of how they make you feel, and they take away whatever it was they was going to give you because they're like, nah. So if they're not willing to pay your price, why are you so willing to lower your price for theirs? So much so that you're willing to give away your entire soul, just so that way you could reincarnate in this life again, on repeat, to constantly feel their pockets, their currency, their vision, their matrix. Interesting. Okay. Anyway, I've said what I've needed to say. Okay, so I'm going to be doing readings. My readings are donation based. If you would like a reading today, donations can be sent to my Cash App or Venmo, Authentic Berns. Yes. There are some people who already sent donations in.